Rack and Roll, Shadows of Centris. Regrets are the coin of the old, aren't they? Garros was a Metak man prone to introspection and navel-gazing. The man's career as a university professor in philosophy always had full classes, but it was a matter of debate if the class was full due to his teaching style or if it was due to the teacher being a him. Maybe, but the fun thing about coin is that you can spend it. Amadi considers as he places a few more pieces of meat on opened-up places on the cooker. It was basically an electric barbecue that ran on Axiom, so you didn't even need to plug it in. True, but wait, I think we're mixing our metaphors, Garros remarks before blinking. Also, wasn't I speaking to, it was Koa, wasn't it? Yes, you were speaking with me, however, Amadi's more the intellectual of the Trinity. Reggie here's more the technical guy in me? I'm just the muscle, Koa says, and Garros openly scoffs. The professor has seen muscleheads in his day, idiot men as well who just sculpted their bodies while ignoring their minds. Koa was neither a musclehead nor an idiot. I have my doubts about that. Perhaps Amadi is the one who is the swiftest to resort to intellectual answers and Reggie to resort to technical. What's wrong? Garros's refutation is cut off as all three men suddenly straighten a little more and begin clearly scanning the area. I'm not certain, but I want you to start moving around and telling people to be ready. Something's about to happen, Koa says. How do you know? Garros asks as he glances around to see what might have these men suddenly on alert. Instinct. We humans have a sort of extra sense. We did not evolve as top-tier predators, so we can sort of tell when someone or something wishes ill upon us. It can be tricked. It can go off without actually sensing malice, but, Amadi explains, we have our families out here, our wives and daughters. Reggie pauses for a moment before smiling at the idea. The family continues. Anyways, we need to be careful. There's already been several groups of crazies that have exposed themselves to try and get a cheap shot at us. I have a slag pistol with modified tri-tight rounds, the parts of my long gun, a Glock 9mm, and an AK-47 for mid-range suppression. No knife? Koa asks. Right, yeah. Boot knives too. One's a K-bar and the other is a bayonet for the AK. Reggie concedes and Garros just stares at him. Why are you so heavily armed? Garros demands. We're always armed. The galaxy is too unsafe and too unfriendly for us not to be. Reggie answers as he starts fiddling with his jacket and assembling the more finicky components of his rifle. Grenade launcher with concussion, thermal and anti-personnel payloads. Amadi begins. I've also got a pair of PAG shield breakers, an Uzi and a Magnum revolver, Big Bowie boot knife and a switchblade. Do you three mean to conquer this spire? What is going on? Like I said, we've encountered hostiles before. We prefer to be safe than sorry, especially with family and friends involved. I have an M249, my backup pistol, an Uzi and a K-bar. That's not so bad, Garros mutters. Thank you. Koa says, refusing to admit that his M249 is a massive amount of bang in one place. Now please get your family to get ready to scatter. We're out in the open with numerous places for hostile forces to show up. We need to get out of here. But wait. Something's Garros. We need to get out of here. Nita and Nika are saying it's like right before everything goes wrong, you three need to. Oh good. You're reaching for weapons. Smart, Annika says. Get them out of here. They're late in the pregnancy and there's no telling what might happen. Koa orders in a tone that offers no argument. Yes, enemy unknown, numbers unknown were heavily exposed and going to start a surreptitious evacuation of the area. Reggie says into his communicator. Hold your ground, soldier. We have agents in the vicinity. Play it as casual as you can. Do not tip your hand, Control says, and he sighs. All right, we'll do our best. He answers and the call cuts off as he looks towards the women. He quickly types something out and one of Shireen's bodies reads off her communicator. All 6 of her selves go very, very still and then start moving again. There's a look of shock that passes over Misty and Marisa, and they start glancing around before steeling themselves. "Amadi, are you going to?" Koa begins to ask, but receives a wink instead. "You already have. I've been getting illusions up to hide us all and talk to people. I've got my girls slipping away to a safer area. We can't overtly move without giving things away, so we need to seem oblivious. It buys us time," Amadi says tightly as his eyes glimmer with power. "Still, only about 1 in 5 outings end up like this. I guess we're coming up on top," Reggie notes. "You know, this thing is really heat resistant. It'll take a couple of plasma blasts unless they use vehicle-scale weapons." Koa scans the area around them. It's the high buildings that have him really paranoid. "Yes, but if they're going to hit us at the range from their most likely hiding places, then they're going to have the bigger weapons to power through thermal bloom and atmospheric diffusion with lasers and plasma. That's just a hunk of slag to that kind of heat." "Fuck it, you're right. We need," Reggie says, letting out a huff and looking straight up. He then blinks. The lights on the underside of the upper tier. Hiding between them would be a perfect place for an assassin or spy. Or worse yet, what if one is? A scream, loud and piercing, rings in from above. A dark figure drops out of the sky and everyone scatters. It hits the ground to reveal itself as a thoroughly dead Sonir with a small figure in a bodysuit that goes from dark blue to black and a gray visor concealing his eyes. He withdraws a sword from the woman's chest. It's short but curved to allow both brutal chops and surgical slashes. Its point is tapered so thin that it could be used to get in between armor. He simply nods at the 3 men pointing their sidearms right at his face. A small wave and he points down at the woman and then taps one of the grenades he has on his bandolier before pointing at the Sonir's waist to show she has explosives as well. He then points up to where they fell from and mimes something falling before jerking his hand apart to simulate an explosion. "I see, sir." "Silent?" Koa asks, and the figure nods. "Are there others?" This question gets another nod. "Are they being dealt with?" Amadi asks and receives a thumbs up. "Where?" Reggie asks. Silent turns and gestures to several nearby buildings before turning and tapping his visor. "They were observing the results of the attack." Silent nods even as he begins to clean his sword. He then ducks under Misty's arm blade to end in an almost casual-looking crouch as he sheathes the brutal little sword without a sound. "Misty, calm down, he's a friend," Reggie says as the Snick draws back her other arm to try and impale him, and pauses. "A friend? He just murdered someone in cold blood. Someone that was trying to kill us. Look at these," Koa says as he takes the bandolier of grenades that Silent just loosed from the Sonir. "Impact plasma grenades. One of these could have killed anyone in this park and she was right over us," Reggie says, then he pauses and turns to Silent. "Was she hanging from the ceiling like a bat?" The slight tilt of the head and shrug before the nod communicates a sort of incredulity to it being done like that by the utterly silent man. "So, less assassin and more bodyguard?" Misty asks, and Silent points to her and offers some applause, the first sound he's made. "Right. Well, we need to get this corpse out of here and her friends interrogated. Is this the only hostel up there?" Koa asks Silent, who nods in answer. "Good. Why isn't he saying anything?" "Could be any number of reasons. I have no idea who this man is, only that he's one of ours," Reggie says. "Are we still in danger?" Slight shrug and gesture to the area and a shake of the head. "We're in an open, poorly defended area, but otherwise no." He receives a thumbs up in response. "I see." "Excuse me," Garrow says, flying up, and Silent regards him oddly. But what is going on? You've defended us, I assume, but who is this woman and why was she hidden above us? Silent just shrugs. Come now, I doubt you're incapable of speech. Garros grumps and Silent points at him before making a sweeping away motion, and then a zipping motion over his own mouth before a sweeping motion over his own face. He's a stealth agent. He works best when no one knows who he is, so he does not speak to make it that much harder to figure him out. Koa explains. Looks like today's festivities are canceled, though. I'm not comfortable having people out in the open when there are potential hostiles around. Amen to that, Amadi says. Pity, I was having a good time. We can relocate elsewhere. Isn't that diner your girl's own closed today? Surely we can fit everyone there, Koa asks, and Amadi pauses. That would be best, defensible but not unreasonable. But first, Silent. How many people were after us? 4 fingers are held up. Silent then points straight up with his index, raises his middle finger and uses them both to point to a nearby building. Ring finger comes up to point at another building in the opposite direction, and then his smallest when he points down the way where vaguely familiar black panel air van takes off and flies into the distance. I see. I take it that you have some recall coming? Koa asks, and Silent points into the distance where an air van can be seen on the approach. Right. Time for us all to get out of here then. What? Why? What have I missed? Abigail demands as she walks up. It's clear that if there was more violence or malice to toss about it, would have been done already, but who is this? Who is her killer and what is happening? Crazy assassin lady. We sensed danger and called backup. She got by our boy Silent here, and now we're packing up and leaving because being in a place where there was enemy action is just asking for some kind of trouble, Reggie says, and Amadi sighs. Thank you, Reginald. Abigail, someone wanted to hurt us. I think it would be wise to get out of here. Why though? Who can say there's... Koa begins, and Silent holds up a strange token he pulled off the soneer. This is vaguely familiar. I know what that is. Trina Lynn, Garros says as he returns. What does it mean? Koa asks as Silent crouches down to better show him the symbol of 3 interlocked rectangles. It's a political philosophy that everything comes together to fit in specific places and shapes, and is often misinterpreted into meaning that things that don't fit should be destroyed. He takes the symbol and then holds it up himself. Each rectangle represents something different. One is reason thought, one is axiom, and the last one is civilization. All 3 of these things come together here in a triangle formation, the triangle representing the Trinity of being. By itself, it's a harmless symbol that reminds people that things are interconnected and interdependent, but it's often misconstrued in terrible ways. How terrible? When the Gravia were first created as a species, there were numerous hate groups that formed using the Trinlin symbol as their rallying mark to protest against them. Violence broke out a fair amount as well. It's also used fairly consistently by groups that shut down or protest against AI research and development. There are also some few terrorist organizations that will use it in their branding. It's grown somewhat controversial in some parts of the galaxy in the last few centuries. So, a borrowed symbol with its name sullied by bad actors. I understand, Koa says, as a black panel air van swoops down from above. Silent holds out his hand for the Trine Lin, and it's given to him. Several men in Spec Ops gear load up the body, and in moments the corpse and Silent are gone. Reggie's communicator rings and he answers it. It's Control. You're safe to retreat. Get out of there.